Hello everyone. Today we are joined by Arvind Mani. He is from Bangalore. He represented India at the Asian Games in Jakarta 2018. Hi,
Hi, Achintya. Thanks for inviting
how are
me.
you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It was a pleasure having you on board, and I just gave you a short intro that you swam for India at the 2018. So can you get your intro rolling?
Yeah, sure. Hi guys. So basically, I'm Arvind Mani, as you told. My highest level of performance is actually at the Asian Games. I've also won medals at the South Asian Games, Asian Age Group, Asian Swimming Championship, and I've participated for India in many competitions like the World Championships, World University Games, and Asian Swimming Championship, and Asian Indoor Games, and many competitions like that. Yeah, so currently I'm a master's student who's studying in Australia and I was swimming there for a while before the lockdown happened and I'm stuck in India right now. So that's it. That's my life right now. So yeah.
Okay, great. So I believe you have a family background in the sports because your brother is also swimming. So swimming alongside you. And so I want to know like what are the pros and cons of having that kind of a background.
So some good pros of having your own family members into the same sport, especially not into any other sport, but into the same sport and probably into the swimming and mostly when he was swimming freestyle for a while and all that. So it was actually good having Avinash on my side, and it's the other way around for him as well. It was also a great motivation for him to have me on his side as well. So that was one good thing. What probably I couldn't have asked better for anyone else to do it. So I had my own brother backing me up through most of my ups and downs throughout my swimming career. So he was the one who was there with me when I traveled to Singapore for qualifying for the Asian Games. So he was the one who was there. He was also swimming and he was also concentrating and he also had qualified. Simultaneously, I took care of him and he took care of me, and that's how it always worked. So most of the nationals and most of the international competitions where we traveled together, he had my back and I had his back. That's how it always went. Yeah.
So like what are the cons? You mentioned a lot of
Yeah,
pros.
so
Like
the
I believe
cons
there's
about
a
it is probably since if me and Avinash were racing in the same event, probably maybe they we would have had some misunderstanding or there would have been some differences in our thoughts. But then since he was doing completely different events, butterfly and freestyle, and I was doing backstroke and IM, so it didn't actually, it was actually always the pros. So there were not actually much of cons. Maybe if I was bunking some workout or if I was missing on some workout, maybe he would come home and maybe spill that to mom. So maybe that were the cons. So I would always get caught with whatever mistakes I've done, neither not swam well or missing the workout or whatever it is. So yeah.
okay, got it. So you mentioned that you are into civil engineering. So what made you choose civil engineering in particular with so much of your international swimming to your profile?
So civil engineering actually I didn't actually want to do civil engineering or something like that. But what actually happened was studies was something very important to me always. So I couldn't take studies always lightly like other sportsmen used to do. There was this mindset where my parents would always wanted me to study and they have not studied so well. So they always wanted me to study well and exceptionally swim well as well at the same time. So after my second PU got over, then I looked at my options. I explored at my options, whatever was available. So there was all this BCA, BCom, and all that. So when I'm simultaneously putting some effort and going to go and do the studies for BCA, BCom, or any other or graduation level for that level. So I thought, why not engineering? Why is the engineering so difficult? So that's how I got into engineering. I thought I'll let me do some engineering of mechanical. Maybe I thought mechanical engineering was my right field. But then after a lot of choices and then after a lot of narrowing down my options, then I got stuck with civil engineering and I had to choose RV College, which was pretty far away from my swimming pool as well. So it was, yeah, it eventually the option what I chose was not 100% what I was happy with, but then yeah, it happened. So I'm really grateful for whatever it is. Yeah.
Got it. So you mentioned that academics and both swimming play a huge role in your life, and you cannot just ignore both of them because you have intentions to pursue both exceptionally well. So how do you focus on both of them simultaneously, like time management for say, and then also you need to devote time to each of them like, because I feel like swimming is not just swimming inside the pool, but there's also other aspects that are done outside of the pool, behind the scene. So you need to devote some extra time for that as well. So how do you do that and focus on both of them?
So it had actually become a part of my routine. So starting from sixth standard or fifth standard, when I remember, so I used to do this every day. I used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go to swimming at 5:30, and then be even 1 or 2 minutes late in the pool. I used to get thrown out. So be on time, finish swimming, then immediately come back. Then by 8:30, I have to go to school. Then 8:30 to 2:30 till I was in eighth standard was the school timing, and then till after eighth standard it became 4:30, where even more difficult. And by 5 o'clock again, I had to be in the pool for practice for evening. So it was kind of difficult, and that routine was what I got used to from a very young age. So after one point of time, it didn't make much difference. Instead of going to school, I started going to RV College of Engineering. So that was the only difference. But then simultaneously maintaining with a lot of peer pressure and with a lot of academics pressure coming from the other side, that is what happened when engineering came into life. So engineering is not that difficult, but then you need to dedicate some time for it because there are a lot of lab internals, there are a lot of externals, and there are a lot of exams to clear and a lot basically to handle in engineering. So that is what I felt a little difficult. That's when probably a little bit of my sports performance was kicking in there and was tinkering, and it was stagnant for a while. So I couldn't simultaneously put efforts on both the side equally, where I wanted to achieve this also very well and that also very well. But I was not ready to compensate on one of them as also. So that was something where I tried maintaining, I tried balancing out, and I struggled till I completed engineering. I somehow maintained swimming as well. And it becomes a part of your lifestyle. Once you do it and once you're doing it for every day, it doesn't make a difference. So Saturdays and Sundays you have to study and you have your lab records to complete, and other days and Wednesdays generally I used to had my swimming classes off Wednesdays and Sundays. So Wednesdays was my Saturday and then Sunday was my Sunday. So it was always like that. So that routine got stuck to me for a very long time, and probably I didn't feel the difficulty what another person would have felt in the same position. So that
Okay,
was something which I was lucky about. Yeah.
so you mentioned that you have represented India at the Asian Games, which was your kind of your highest achievement. But I feel like Asian Games can somehow be compared to the Olympics, because you have that Asian Games village where all the athletes come together and stay, like even the coaches as well. Then you have the there are array of sports to choose from, like, for the competition. So can you walk me through your journey into the Asian Games in 2018?
It was actually one of my best memories because I got to see a lot of Indian athletes, a lot of world top athletes who actually came to participate in the games. A lot of Indian stars like Saina Nehwal and PV Sindhu and everyone were there. So it was a great exposure for me to be at such a big game and meet all those people and interact with all those people, get to talk to them at the cafeteria or at the bus or wherever you are traveling in case if you meet them on the way, they're just like another person like me there.
Yeah.
So at that particular fact, that was something which I felt astonished about. All these athletes coming together and on the same platform without any discrepancy or without any other kind of thoughts coming into your mind. Everyone is there. We all are there. So that was something which I really liked about being in Asian Games. Everyone coming together on the same platform. And other than that, the Games Village, as you said, was wonderful and a lot of experiences we had to carry over from Jakarta back home. And it was a really good experience, especially the Games Village, the cafeteria, and all that kind of still is in my mind. It's like it happened yesterday or it happened like day before yesterday. The memories are very fresh. So I don't know. So it was like any other competition for me on racing perspective. I had to make sure my event was going good and everything else was going good. But simultaneously, it was a different experience overall. It was one of my best experiences.
Okay, so if you were to pick, like, any particular advantage, like any learning that you learned from the Asian Games, and also a one particular event or anything, any moment that you messed up at the Asian Games.
So during my Asian Games, I kind of had a shoulder injury. So I couldn't do well in my 50 back, couldn't do well in my 100 back, but then did well in 50 back. Did a PB in my 50 back, but then couldn't get a PB in my 100 and went slower than what I did for qualifying. So that was kind of my one of my regret where I went to Asian Games, although I couldn't do my best. because of my shoulder or whatever was troubling me at that point of time. So it was difficult for me to carry that back home because after all the effort for putting there to be at Asian Games, after going to Asian Games, I couldn't do my best. So that hurt me a lot. And one of the good experiences what I got back home was seeing the Olympic athletes. I told it was like a inspiration for me at that point of time. Like I felt like me that I should make two more Asian Games. I should be at more Asian Games, more Olympics, and more Commonwealth Games to see how this kind of sports culture is being brought up in other kinds of the world, and how people are doing so well. I got to see people like Ryan Lochte and Michael Phelps racing in different competitions back in 2012 in World Short Course Swimming Championship or whatever I went for. I was way back inspired by then, where I was like 12 or 13 years old itself. And after that, after a long time for me to get to an Asian Games level platform and again perform and again meet a lot of athletes like this, that was what I had to carry back home, and that inspired me more.
Great. So, what are your plans moving ahead with your academics and your swimming?
So currently, as I told, I was doing my masters in Australia and I was training there. I was swimming there, but not as competitively, but I was trying to at least be in my best form and whatever. So, but since I'm back to Australia, back to India, and I'm stuck here for a while, I've not been swimming here recently. But then I'm in my fitness right now, and I'm not sure of how well I'm going to go back to swimming. But then, yeah, my goal is to go back to Australia and complete my masters. And simultaneously, I'll be swimming there. I study in Deakin there. So Deakin University has a very good swimming team as well. So I don't know. Let's see how it goes. So it depends on where I go and where I stay and where I train. So things change. So I don't know.
Okay. So, any parting thoughts like before we sign off today?
No parting thoughts. I just want all the people whoever are seeing this to take sports little seriously, to keep swimming, to keep the people around them inspired, and just keep going. That's all, nothing else.
Okay, okay, great.
Give the
It was
best to the
sitting.
sport. Yeah, one day it'll help you back. That's it.
Okay, it was great sitting down with you and having your journey about your Asian Games being shared. It was great, listening to your, kind of grinding that you have done for the past 20 years, if I'm not wrong.
True.
And thank you, and all the best for your future.
Sure, Achinja. Thank you for inviting me over. It was great talking to you. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Thanks.
bye.
See you. Bye.
I'm stable, oh yeah, no label.